Hey folks, welcome back to my channel. This is MahfuzVanGogh, your dredge guy, and today we are going to win, I hope, with Blue Dredge 4.4. This version has two different things, important things, between separating this from the previous version. And this is the first time I'm playing with Dredge, any Dredge deck, but I'm playing with only 3 copies of Bridge from below. And this is kind of a bold move, I guess, because I never did this in the past. This is just a first thing for me as a Dredge player after many years playing Dredge, just taking one of our loved bridges from my deck. This card is really strong. This card is banned in Modern. I love this card. But after the inclusion of the Satoru combo with Thassa's Oracle, I'm having many games. I played maybe 8 leagues so far and 1 Legacy Challenge with this build with the combo. But I'm having more and more matches where bridges are not necessary to win. They are kind of feeling like a win more now because we have Poxwalkers. Poxwalkers is really good in this build. We just win the game on the spot. We don't need Icorids anymore. I still have 1 Icorid in my sideboard. But since now even Blue Dredge is faster than the oldest builds of Blue Dredge, I kind of not having the necessity of creating zombies to win the game. Of course, sometimes it's good to have a bridge because we will have only an Archamoeba. We already have Dredge Return and Satoru the Infiltrator, which is amazing in our deck, as we already know, I suppose. But if we have only some of pieces but not 3 creatures yet to reanimate Satoru, sometimes we have 1 or 2 bridges in our graveyard, and they will just create more creatures to be sacrificed for Dredge Return. And Dredge Return will put Satoru into play, and we will start our combo. So maybe it's still good to have bridges, but I'm kind of losing my faith in this card if we have the combo as our primary winning condition. So I will start taking only one bridge from below from our deck, and let's see how it will perform. I played 2 or 3 leagues before this recording without 1 bridge, and so far I am not missing the 4th bridge. But let's see if my gut is telling me to remove even more than 1 bridge, or maybe finally I will miss 4th bridge and I will feel the need to include it back. And now I even will cast Mindbreak Trap instead of Harvester of Misery. I love the Harvester of Misery in matches with creatures, but right now, at least after playing some leagues here in Magic Online, I'm not seeing creature decks. Not creature decks that scares us, I mean. Of course, creature decks can scare us like Green-White Depths, for example, with Elvish Reclaimer, or maybe decks with 4 copies of the Archetype Walker main deck. But if those decks will not appear here on Magic Online, I will just include answers to Storm, because Storm is getting really popular right now, at least in my leagues. Always I see 1 or 2 Storm players, so I include Mindbreak Trap as an extra spice against those builds. And that's it. Let's use this league to have some fun, to see the deck in action, and to answer this question. Do we take at least 1 copy of Bridge from below from Blue Dredge? Do we really need the 4 copies, or even 3, or even 2? Or maybe we can just build some version of build without any bridges? Let's see if we can answer this question right now. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Click the like button, subscribe, and leave your comment here below. Especially answer this question, today's question. Do we need Bridge from below to win in Legacy? Let's find out. And guess what? Now I'm a Mana Traders Ambassador, and you can subscribe to them with a 10% off on your first 2 months. Just add the coupon code DredgeGuy at checkout. It's just the best way to play and test a variety of decks in every MTG format you can think of. Now, back to the games. Alright, this is our first round against Mamuti Mahiko. And we are on the play. This hand is a mulligan, almost there. Alright, so is this a keep or not? This is not that great, but I'm inclined to just keep it. We have this is a great mulligan to 4, but it is a mulligan to 6. Do I want to go to 5? No, I will keep this. At least we are immune to Wasteland, if this is our opponent's game plan. My opponent kept 7, I will keep this. I will put Cabal Therapy at the bottom, and let's start. We have a basic island and careful study. Okay, it resolves, but we have no second land, unfortunately. Let's put our best treasures in the graveyard. And now it's my opponent's turn. Okay, my opponent plays Urza Saga and a Max Diamond, so it seems like a lands deck with Stone Portal. Sphere of Resistance. Okay. I will not try to draw anything else. We are probably locked out from this game. We have an Akomoiba, that's good. And I will just pass here. I cannot do anything else. Even if I had another Brainstorm or Careful Study, I couldn't cast against this. Unfortunately, this Force of Will wasn't in our starting hand. My opponent's Urza Saga goes up. Okay, my opponent plays Caracas and pass. Now we'll dredge 6 again. Okay, 2 other Nakomoibas. And Poxwalkers, but unfortunately we cannot take these Poxwalkers from our graveyard yet. My opponent will probably find a graveyard hate with this Urza Saga. Let's attack dealing 1 damage, and we can pass a turn. Okay, my opponent will create a construct. Now Urza Saga goes up again. My opponent creates a second construct. Oh yeah, and they goes for Soul Guide Lantern. And goes for Breach from below. Okay, so no breach for us. Guys, we are not winning this, even if my opponent seems like a new player, because they are playing kind of slow here, really thinking on their decisions. But I know that I will not win this game, so let's concede. With Sphere of Resistance, only 1 land, and a Soul Guide Lantern, even if my opponent cracks it immediately, I will not defend this position against 2 constructs. So let's try better after sideboarding. After sideboarding, we want to take a little bit of everything. 1 Brainstorm, 1 Satoru. Cabal Therapy is not that great here because my opponent will not have many things to discard. And 1 Poxwalkers. I want to include 2 Grief, 1 Eco-Read, in case my opponent goes for Tabernacle, and 1 Ashen Rider. And that's it. Let's submit the deck back. Alright, we are on the play. Okay, this hand is better than the previous one. It's not that good because we don't have ways to discard yet. But I can start with Brainstorm here, after resolving my first Grief. Or maybe I start with Brainstorm immediately. Yeah, let's skip this. I don't even need to Grief right now because my opponent will try something and I have Force of Will. So I can just play Cephalic Coliseum, cast Brainstorm, and then go for something else. Okay, my opponent kept 6. I even think about only play Cephalic Coliseum and pass here, because this Brainstorm can just lock me out from the game. But against lands, we need to be bold and take some risks. I will cast Brainstorm right now. Okay, great. We have a fetch land. And I have Cabal Therapy. So I will... I don't want this Dredge return. And we can draw this Grave Troll again. Yeah. And I will not cast Grief yet. I don't think we need to do this yet. Let's just wait to force my opponent's first play. And then I will go Grief, maybe Cabal Therapy on the next turn. Maybe I can take 1 more card from my opponent's hand. Okay, Wooded Foothills, Brexit, Basic Forest, Exploration, no. In normal conditions, I would not force this Exploration, but since I have Grief for next turn, I'm feeling that's an okay play. Now I'll play this Flooded Strand, and then cast Grief, exiting Stinkweed Imp. Let's see if the coast is clear. Okay, so far so good. This Grief resolves. Okay, they have Soul Guide Lantern, so that was their play for the turn. And I left from the low one. This can be... Okay, let's decide here what we want to do. If I want to play really defensive, I can just take Soul Guide Lantern and Sphere of Resistance and pass the turn. But then I don't have anything else to do next turn, right? So I'll just take the Lantern here and assume that I will not resolve any more spells this game. I will crack this Flooded Strand. I just hope for no Wasteland next turn, so then we can crack Cephalic Coliseum. And I will take this Underground Sea, I will play Cabal Therapy targeting myself, and I will name a Grave Troll. Maybe I do have a Grave Troll in my hand, let's see. I do have. And I discard Go-Gary Grave Troll. The Troll Skeleton. And let's pass the turn. My opponent knows that I don't have anything, so let's just press F6 here and see what they will play. Probably Sphere, a Wasteland. Oh my god. Alright, that was a great top deck from my opponent. Okay, let's forget that this was a thing. Let's just dredge. Yeah, I have a Nakamaiba and a Cabal Therapy. I can even cast Cabal Therapy right now to take Sphere, but I don't think we need to, right? So let's just pass a turn here. I don't think we need to do it because we already have 1 land, and unless my opponent have a second Wasteland coming in the next 2 turns, I think this is probably okay. Part of me just prefers that my opponent will play Sphere of Resistance next turn. But maybe they just cast Life from the Lawn. I don't know. Okay, my opponent plays Thespian Stage and Sphere. Alright, so our Cabal Therapy next turn will cost 1 mana if we want to use it. Let's take this Eco-Read from my graveyard and put it into the battlefield. And dredge 5. Alright, another Nakamaiba, that's great. I have 2 Cabal Therapies now and 1 Breach. No other dredgers, so I need to take one of my dredgers from my hand. I want to discard one of them with one of those Cabal Therapies. I attack my opponent, dealing 4 damage. They go to 15. And now I will pay 1 and sacrifice Narcomoeba, so I can have 1 extra damage next turn, so I can deal 1 extra damage from now. And I will discard Grave Troll. Yes, I do have Grave Troll again. And I can pass the turn. Ikorid dies, I have 1 more zombie. If I anticipate that I can win this game only by attacking with Ikorid 2 more turns, I will just exile Satoru. Okay, my opponent plays Exploration and Ancient Tomb and Savannah, so now they will cast Life from the Loam probably. So next turn they will Wasteland me. So this is my last turn that I can cast something, because I will not have this Underground Sea to pay the tax next turn. So Ikorid comes back, exiling Satoru, and I will dredge 6. Alright, I can even cast Hogak here. So let's see. I will attack with everyone except 1 zombie, and then I will sacrifice my Narcomoeba to Cabal Therapy, and then I cast Hogak. Yeah, that seems like a good plan. And my opponent needs Caracas or Tabernacle to win this game. If they don't reach any of these cards with Life from Below, with Dredge 3, we win. So I attack. Oh, I attacked with everyone. I got distracted. That's fine, that's fine. This is probably good enough. This put my opponent down on life. I got distracted because my dog is crying a little bit because of my neighbor's noise. Alright, let's concentrate. I will pay the tax here, sacrificing Narcomoeba to put Grave Troll again in my graveyard, and my opponent needs something. Even if they do find Tabernacle, I will win in 2 more turns with Ikorid. Let's see if they will dredge. Yeah, they dredged, but didn't fight anything. And my opponent concedes. We got game 2. We get a win. Now we have our 3rd game. And in the 3rd game, I will not change anything. I think this is fine the way it is. But Force of Will is extremely strong when we are on the draw. I think this is the same configuration. No changes. Alright, this is game 3. And this is a beautiful hand. On the draw, we have Force of Will and we have Grief. We just need to find something else. And we don't have Dredgers yet, but we have our best 2 enablers when we don't have a Dredger yet. So yeah, this is a keep. My opponent also kept 7. If my opponent does something really scary, I have Force of Will exiling Brainstorm. Unfortunately, no basic lands. Exploration, this time I'm not sure if I will force this. This is really scary, but I think I need to let this resolve. Assessment stage, okay. It is also a forest, and my opponent passes the turn. So maybe they have crop rotation. Okay, another Otherworldly Gaze. In this case, we will start playing Underground Sea and casting a Brainstorm. If we find Dredgers, we can left the Dredgers on top of my... Oh, no Dredgers, alright. But we have a card to be pitched to Grief. So next turn, what we... I'm not even sure if I will cast Otherworldly Gaze just to put 2 lands in my graveyard. I don't think this is wise. So let's put Basic Island in Flooded Strand. So this Flooded Strand can be a Basic Island if I need to. And I will cast Grief right now. Oh, it resolves immediately. My opponent has only a Sphere of Resistance and a Wasteland. But this is not a good keep. My opponent will need to draw something. Okay, this is interesting because this Force of Will has no targets now. So if my opponent draws anything here, I will notice. So my opponent plays Wasteland and Savannah. And they just copy Wasteland. Alright, no problem. I have a Basic Island coming soon. My opponent has Maze of Ith and something else. Alright, for the Strand, let's crack it immediately. But let's not play nothing. Let's not play. Let's play nothing. And my opponent... Oh, I'm not press F6 here. Okay, another Wasteland. And a Maze of Ith. My opponent has 1 unknown card. In case they have at any point crop rotation, I will be prepared. Let's find something with this first Otherworldly Gaze. Alright, more than something. This is what I want to see against lands. I have Basic Island, I have a good graveyard running over, and I have a Force of Will. And I can crack Cephalic Coliseum now. My opponents don't have a Sphere of Resistance because I make them discard it. And now I'll dredge 6, and dredge 6 again, and dredge 5. Okay, 3 Narcomoebas are great. Let's discard our best dredgers. Yes, I would like to put Narcomoebas on the battlefield, please. 1 of them, 2, and 3. Now what? Can we win right now? Let's check here. Our sideboard is this. So I have 1 Satoru, 1 Thassa's Oracle, and 2 Dredge Returns. We already have Satoru here, but no Dredge Return yet. We have Ashen Rider, but no Dredge Return yet. My opponent have 1 Maze of Ith. So, and they can copy Maze of Ith. So Hogak is not that good. but we have 2 Poxwalkers. So I will cast my first Cabal Therapy here just to have more zombies, to put 2 Poxwalkers back onto the battlefield. And this Cabal Therapy probably don't have anything to say here. This is probably a land, so I'll just name a good day to pie. Yeah, Boseiju. And now what? Do I even bother and cast my other Cabal Therapies? Because, let's see, my opponent will probably copy their other Maze of It, so both Poxwalkers will not deal damage. If I have... yeah, maybe this is better. I'll keep 1 Cabal Therapy without being cast, because this can just sacrifice a National Rider in the future. So let's do just once more, so I can cast Hogak and deal more damage next turn. Because now one of my opponent's Maze of It needs to target Hogak, and let's do the math before that. After that, 1, 2, 3. I can even tap Nakomoibas here. Okay, so if my opponents don't have anything else, just 2 mazes, I will deal 3, 5, 7, 8, 9 damage. This is not lethal. I will need 3 turns. If I cast this other Cabal Therapy here, this will win the game in 2 turns. But if my opponents just have a natural Tabernacle from hand, this is really risky. The risk here is my opponent just natural draws a Tabernacle or a 3rd maze, for example. So I think I will not risk this, because I'm already really deep into my deck, and I will find my Dread Return soon. So I will not risk anything, even if this is not a turn 2 clock, but only a turn 3 clock. I think this is wise, because the battle is not a guaranteed win yet. I need to hold this Force of Will and just hope that my opponent didn't see the line that they could copy Maze of It. So now I have a turn 2 clock. Okay, my opponent just concedes the game. All right, too strong, too strong. Yeah, my opponent didn't need to concede there, but maybe it's already pretty hard. We didn't even need our Force of Will. So let's play our second match. If you enjoy my content, I will encourage you to go check my Patreon. This way you can help me as a content creator, but also have access to all my articles, sideboard guides, new videos, and also everything that I discover about Dredge. When I build a new deck like this one, you'll have access first. I want to take this opportunity to say thank you to all my patrons that you can see here on this page. Now, back to the games. Alright, this is our next match against Larry David Yo. We are on the draw. This is acceptable on the draw. Let's keep. If this is a combo deck, we have an answer. We don't want to use this answer, but we have one. And if this is a control deck or a tempo deck, okay, this is a combo deck. We could just discard our Dredge or something else. And we are on the draw, so we have the possibility of draw something interesting. Okay, my opponent just plays Swamp and pass. And we have a second Careful Study. This is absolutely amazing. So let's cast it. So my opponent will answer me casting Dark Ritual. Okay, this is probably an Orcish Bowmasters. I don't care about Orcish Bowmasters. Okay, this will deal 2 more damage here and 2 extra damage next turn. But that's okay. I am really afraid of Doughty Voidwalker and not Orcish Bowmasters, so that's fine. That's really fine. Because I have 2 Dredgers, and probably this Bowman will not hit me anymore with its trigger until the end of the game. And since my opponent already spent a Dark Ritual, I will not play around an extra Dark Ritual. I will just force a second Orcish Bowmasters. I think I still don't care, because I will have blockers anytime soon. So yeah, you can bow me. Ouch, I'm already on 11 life. This is worse than playing against a burn player. Because now in 2 turns, 9 damage. Alright, so I will Dredge 5. Okay, we have 2 Dredgers, so this Careful Study will be really safe to be cast. If I had sure that I will not hit this trigger again, I would prefer to just crack Cephalic Coliseum here, but this is really risky. So let's go for... Okay, I will play Flooded Strand first, and since I want to keep this Brainstorm in my hand, I will just crack it first for an Undercity Sewers. Let's see if we can find a 3rd Dredger. No, just a Dread Return. Okay, so now I will cast Careful Study, and we'll Dredge 4. And Dredge is okay, many Dredges, but we did the right thing. Not the best thing, but the right thing. Do I put Bridge in my graveyard now? I don't have any ways to sacrifice this Narcomoeba yet, so I will probably discard Bridge and go get Grave Troll and pass a turn with a blocker. My opponent can hit this blocker, of course, and a Force of Will. And next turn we can win the game with this Cephalic, because we already have a Satoru and a Dredge Return and Hogak. Okay, here it comes, the bride. Let's force it. I was holding this for you, my friend, the entire time. And let's just put this Nakomiba in front of the Orc Army token. Our opponent will probably crack Wasteland here. I don't care, I have something better than this next turn. Oh, they are thinking about it. Oh, they chose to not Wasteland me. Interesting. So let's dredge 6 here. Another Narco, great. And that means that we probably have the win even without cracking the Cephalic Coliseum, right? Because I can just cast Cabal Therapy, I'll have my Poxwalkers back, and then I can put Satoru into play, and then I'll just cast Hogak. I think I'll crack it first, but yeah, let's crack it first because we already have a Cabal Therapy there. Can my opponent do anything at instant speed to ruin my day? Can they? How many Cabal Therapies we still have? We have all of them. So let's start by casting this first Cabal Therapy targeting my opponent. And I will name something really weird to have in the main deck, like Force of Despair. So let's name exactly that. I don't think my opponent will have Force of Despair, but not in the main deck, of course, but no, just a Harvester of Misery and a Dark Ritual. So yeah, we have the win here. So let's crack Cephalic Coliseum. I will dredge 4, dredge 5, and dredge 5 again. And I will discard a Thug, and Stink Within. Ooh, having the win against a mono black deck with dredge in these days is something amazing. So dredge return targeting Satoru. I will discard. I will sacrifice Narcomoeba, and Zombie because I don't want to have too many triggers right now because of our Crucible Masters. Let's start slow. We already have the win. Now I will dredge 6. Okay, we have dredge return, and do we have Thassa's Oracle? Yeah, we do. So let's just cast Hogak here, exiling some stuff. Satoru triggers again, and we can just dredge 5. And now we have more than we need right now. Just cast dredge return targeting Thassa's Oracle. Let's sacrifice some zombies. Just to not have an extra trigger from Satoru, just from these Poxwalkers. Now I will draw a card because I cannot dredge anymore, but I can take 2 damage from those Archetype Masters. That's okay. Yeah, my opponent will hit my Poxwalkers. I'll have extra zombies and my other Poxwalkers. And then Thassa's Oracle enters the battlefield. Let's order these triggers. So I will not draw an extra card. Okay, we won. We did a thing on the game 1. But this will be even harder after that because my opponent maybe have something like Leyline of the Void, for example. So let's see how we will sideboard. This is something like Mono Black Aggro, not a Mono Black Reanimator. They have other cards. Mono Black Scam, maybe. So I would like to have some like Silent Gravestone, and then I would just take my Dredge Returns from my deck. But I don't. So let's put some bounce spells, including a bounce spell to Leyline, in case my opponent actually have Leyline. And I will just take a little bit of everything again. I will take both Satorus because my opponent can reanimate my own Satorus and ruin my day. I think I will still keep one Thassa's Oracle, my Thassa's Oracle. Not sure if this is the best plan on the draw, but sometimes you just win the game like we did. But it would be harder to do this on the draw. I think I would take every one of them. So I don't have the Dredge Return package, but I have everything else to win the game in a classic way, like the Dredge does. So yeah, let's just submit a deck in this way. This is a new match for me, Mono Black Scam or Mono Black Aggro. This is a new match for this deck. I'm doing the sideboard against a possible Leyline, but I'm not sure if my opponent actually plays Leyline. So we mulligan. Okay, this would be a keep against any other deck, but my opponent is going deep into their own deck. They are already mulligan to 5. Do we keep this? I think we do keep this because I have 3 blue spells to try to reach one of my bounce spells if needed. And if my opponent only have a turn 2 Doughty Voidwalker, I can start doing my things and then hitting a bounce spell. I will put Nakomiba back. Do I? Maybe Bridge is better. Yeah, let's put Bridge back into the deck. This is in rare occasions, it's useful to have an Nakomiba cast from hand. My opponent starts with a Swamp and pass. If I just natural draw, Cabal Therapy, I would just immediately name Doughty Voidwalker. So a basic island because I know that my opponent have Wastelands. And let's cast Careful Study. Okay, many cantrips, but nothing that we actually want. And now I will put one of my Otherworldly Gazes in my graveyard. Let's hope for no mana or no Doughty Voidwalker for my opponent. You can reanimate my Stink Within if you want to. I don't care. Okay, Doughty Voidwalker, they hit it. So let's draw a bounce spell. Draw a bridge. All right. So I play my Flooded Strand. Let's crack this immediately for my basic island. And I will cast Otherworldly Gaze right now. Nothing that we want, so I will just put everything into my graveyard. I'm doing that now because my opponent have Orcish Bowmasters, so I want to try to hit something before they reach Orcish Bowmasters. Alright, nothing. I will discard Narcomoeba and Bridge, unfortunately. Yeah, and I know that on the draw is really difficult. I had a nice turn 2 hand, but my opponent was on the play with the best turn 2 play. Let's see if they have anything else. They just attack with the Voidwalker and passes the turn. Okay, so this is probably an Orcish Bowmasters. Let's draw an Narcomoeba. We don't want to see Narcomoeba right now. Let's cast this Otherworldly Gaze from my graveyard. Okay, 2 bounce spells. This is what we want to see. So let's keep Golgari Troll on top, Chain of Vapor on top, and other Chain of Vapor on top. I'm not sure if I will play this Cephalic Coliseum. Part of me wants to play it because my opponents don't have a Wasteland, not yet. Of course, they can natural draw a Wasteland. But if I play the Cephalic Coliseum and it stays for 1 turn, next turn I can have beautiful sequence. So I will just play Cephalic Coliseum now and pass a turn. My opponent didn't play any Orcish Bowmasters. Okay, they will grief and they have Leyline of the Void, you see? They will take my Careful Study probably. So now I don't have that beautiful sequence anymore. They are considering here. Maybe they want to take my Cabal Therapy. Oh, my Narcomoeba, okay, they are feeling really safe about them. And they will reanimate Grief, and now they will take my Careful Study, of course. Yeah, alright. So let's draw our Chain of Vapor. Now this is going to be hard because we have 2 Chain of Vapors in a row, and I want only one of them. Or better saying, I want both of them. Alright. Oh, this is going to be hard, guys. It's going to be hard, really hard. Let's draw our second Chain of Vapor and pass the turn. So I will bounce both Doughty Voidwalkers. Yeah, I don't have the win here because my opponent can just replay a Doughty Voidwalker. Unfortunate. I can bounce one of them right now and the other, but then my opponent can just recast a Doughty Voidwalker and I will not have anything else. So let's concede. Almost there, almost there. Even against a turn 2 Doughty Voidwalker without having the answer in our starting hand. Almost there. On the draw. So let's try to do better next. And now I know for sure that my opponent play Leyline of the Void, so I will keep my 5 bounce spells. On the draw, do I need to change anything here on the play? I could include something else here, but fighting against Leyline and Doughty Voidwalker is already hard enough. So I think I will just submit the deck back. There is an argument against Hogak here, because this is a reanimate deck. I could include Ichorid instead of Hogak. Let's see if I still have time to do that. It's a consideration. Of course, Hogak can just win the game by itself if I play it fast enough. So yeah, we would like to play first. This would be a beautiful hand if my opponents don't have Leyline, but let's try to do better. Let's mulligan once. Alright, we have an answer to Leyline. We have ways to take Leyline or Doughty Voidwalker from my opponent's hand. My opponent kept 7. So I'll keep this weird hand and I'll put Bridge into my library. Okay, my opponent have nothing yet. So if I cast Cabal Therapy targeting myself, discarding Stink with Imp, this is a really strong play if my opponent have a turn 2 Doughty. If they have a turn 1 Doughty, I can just Chain of Vapor and just go on with my life next turn. If my opponent have Grief and Doughty Voidwalker, I lose. Because they know that they will know that I have Chain of Vapor. But I think this is the strongest play that I can do. I would just do my thing instead of looking to my opponent's hand, because maybe they have a Wasteland and I would just lose on the spot if this Cabal Therapy don't hit. So I'm targeting myself and I will name Stink with Imp. Oh, I have one. And let's pass a turn with this Chain of Vapor. My opponent knows about it, so they need to do something really fast. They kept 7 cards, so they may have a turn 1. A really good turn 1. Maybe they have Grief, maybe they can scam me. But if they only have Grief and Reanimate, but no Doughty Voidwalker, this can still win the game for me. They need a combination of at least 2 things. The scam sequence, Wasteland, or Doughty Voidwalker. Okay, they start with a basic Swamp. Dark Ritual, okay, I'll just press F6, I don't have nothing. Oh, it's another card. Oh, they will reanimate my Stink with Imp. Okay, that's smart. So they just... they commit a crime and put my +1/+1 counter on Vadmir, and it will be a Menace lifelink creature with 4 or more counters. So let's draw. Force of Will, okay. Do I even play Cephalic Coliseum? Probably, since I have 2 of them. Okay, let's pass a turn with Force of Will available. One possible thing that I can do, okay, Orcish Bowmasters. So they don't have a Doughty Voidwalker, not yet. One thing that I can do is bounce my own Stinkweed Imp. I can bounce my own Stinkweed Imp, so I can cast Stinkweed Imp and cast a Cabal Therapy targeting my opponent, naming Doughty Voidwalker. This is something that I can do. This is really weird, but this can win me the game. So I'll try to Chain Vapor, Stinkweed Imp. Now we draw another Stinkweed Imp. Alright. So let's cast Stinkweed Imp from my hand. I don't think my opponent will keep a hand without Doughty Voidwalker, so I think they will still have Doughty Voidwalker. Of course, they can have a second Reanimate, and in this case, it's just a GG. But yeah, I will try to hit a Doughty Voidwalker here. And let's see if they have a Doughty Voidwalker. Oh, they do have an LA Line and a Shieldred. Alright, so no fear next turn, because my opponent don't have double swamp. They will probably fire this Wasteland. Okay, they will cycle Throw of Khazad-dûm. Maybe they will not fire this Wasteland because it's their out. No, they will try to... Yeah, they go for my Cephalic Coliseum. But now it's harder to cast any of those cards. Ouch, I have only 5 life. So, yeah, please, let's dredge something good. Okay, we have 2 dredgers. We need 1 more to not get hit by Orcish Bowmaster. So, we don't have any choice here. Let's crack Cephalic Coliseum. Dredge 6. Alright, Dredge 6 again. We have 1 Poxwalkers. We have 2 Poxwalkers Bridge. We need 1 Narcomoeba. And Dredge 5. Come on, Narco? No Narcomoeba, alright. Oof, almost there. We lost the game by an aggro sequence from my opponent. Let's discard hit because I want to draw to see if I hit any Narcomoeba after that. So let's concede. We have 4 Narcos. One 2 cards deep into our deck. We had our first Narco. This Narco will be sacrificed for a Cabal Therapy. We'll have 1 zombie to block and 2 Poxwalkers coming back. Yeah, this would hold 1 extra turn. We would take Shieldred, and then we could win the game after that. Alright, it happens. Let's go to our match number 3. Alright, we are playing against Bingo JJ. This hand is a mulligan. We don't have any lands. This new hand is a keep, not the best keep, but on the draw, I will not mulligan this hand. We have 2 lands that we always want to. We have 2 ways to discard our best dredger. And we have even another dredger to discard if this Careful Study resolves. This bridge will go back. My opponent also had a mulligan. Let's see what they will play. Chromox. So this is an unfair thing. Okay, Goblins. Skirk Prospector, Cavern. Okay, so Force of Will will not have any effects here. My opponent will cast a Goblin. Oh, Broadside. On turn 1, this is really strong. Now it's my turn. And this seems a turbo build, so I will not be afraid of being wastelanded here. But since I already have an Underground Sea, I don't need 2 of them, right? So let's take a basic island and cast this Careful Study. Narcomoeba was an awful draw. So we'll discard 2 dredgers. Next turn I can even cast Satoru to put some fear in my opponent. Maybe they sacrifice something just to hit Satoru. My opponent attacks me, deals 2 damage, plays a mountain, and passes, alright. So now we will dredge 6. Okay. Do I cast Satoru here? I think so. I will cast Satoru, and let's see if my opponent can deal with it. They probably can, right? But I will cast Satoru because Satoru is useful for my graveyard. We already have a dredge return there. And I prefer my opponent to sacrifice something to hit Satoru than me at this point. And if this Satoru leaves, next turn will be amazing because we already have a Poxwalkers there. And a Cabal Therapy. So this represents 2 Satoru triggers at least. Alright, my opponent attacks. Yeah, they just cast a Chromox to hit me or Satoru with it, right? Yeah, but Chromox represents only 2 damage and my opponent did a wrong move. Because Chromox costs only 2. My opponent probably are used to throw things bigger than a Chromox. So maybe we win the game from now? Let's see. We will start by dredging 4. Okay, we don't have any other dredgers here. So what can we do? If I cast an Narcomoeba from my hand, and then cast Cabal Therapy, sacrificing Narcomoeba to put a Golgari Throw in my own graveyard, that does not trigger will not trigger Satoru. We needed another dredger there. My opponent only have 1 card in their hand, so maybe we will have an extra turn now. Maybe the best thing here is just to cast Otherworldly Gaze, trying to hit an Narcomoeba, and maybe have a natural draw. I can cast Golgari Thug and then sacrifice it, but Of course, I have a Dredge Return, I have 2, and since I already have a Satoru, I could sacrifice 3 creatures if I had them. But I will have only 2 Poxwalkers. Okay, let's cast... you know what? My opponent have only 1 card in their hand. I will cast Otherworldly Gaze right now. And I'll have 2 draws, natural draws with Satoru. And maybe I will find a 3rd land. And then I can cast... Okay, I found a land, but not an untapped land. And maybe I can just cast this Cabal Therapy from my hand. Okay, Brainstorm is good for our next turn. Maybe you can find... oh, Cephalic Elysium is also good. So yeah, Otherworldly Gaze was really good, even if this Satoru can't leave next turn. I'll put this into my graveyard, this into my graveyard, and this on top. I could even just cast a Cabal Therapy right now. How many lines, right? I can cast a Cabal Therapy right now just to draw Cephalic Elysium and then cast a Brainstorm if I had a single Dredger. And I will have a single Dredger if I do this targeting myself just to put Golgari Troll. Alright, yeah, this is the line. So Cabal Therapy sacrificing 1 Poxwalkers. These Poxwalkers will come back and I will draw an extra card. Satoru is amazing. This is a new thing. I never did this before. Drawing 3 cards just to draw a land and an enabler. Yeah, I think this is probably the best line. I'm doing this without thinking too much. Maybe there was another line. If you saw another line even better than that, please tell me in the comments. So I will name Grave Troll, and I will play Cephalic Elysium and cast Brainstorm. Let's see if we can find a Dredge chain. Okay, we do. Dredge 6, and Dredge 6, and we have the win. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So let's put 2 cards. I want this Narcomoeba. Do I even need this Narcomoeba? Probably don't. So I want this Cabal Therapy and another Dredger. This Narcomoeba will trigger Satoru, and now I will Dredge 6 again. And oh, another Narcomoeba. And I will, yes, I want to have this Narcomoeba ability triggering Satoru again. And I will Dredge 6. And now I have some bridges. I have 1 bridge. Only 1 bridge, but I have other Poxwalkers, so I will cast Cabal Therapy, targeting my opponent. Let's see if they have anything pressing there. So I have 1 bridge trigger and 2 Poxwalkers entering the battlefield. Both will trigger Satoru again. I can Dredge 4 here, I don't need more than that. I already have Thassa's Oracle and Dredge Return. I can have a natural draw now. And let's name a good day to Pi. This is a good name. Okay, another Cavern. Alright, let's reanimate Thassa's Oracle. For the win, let's sacrifice 3 creatures that will not trigger Satoru. Yeah, I have more zombies, but I don't need them. And now we won on turn 3 against Goblins. Take that, Turbo Goblins. Who is the Turbo deck now? Alright, I don't need anything here. We just win. Oof, this was tough because our start wasn't that strong, but then the deck corrected its own road. Now let's sideboard. Against Goblins, on the draw, I don't want the Dredge Return plan because I think my opponent will probably be faster than me. And they probably have Leyline, so I'll answer Leyline with 5 bounce spells. But on the play, I can do different according to what I see on game 2. If we have a game 3, I hope we don't. Let's play our second game. Alright, this is really interesting. We have Force of Will. We don't have an answer to Leyline. My opponent kept 7. I will keep this hand. If my opponent have Leyline, they have Leyline. No Leyline, okay. And if they have something like Unlicensed Hers, we have an answer. If they have Chalice of the Void, we have an answer. If they have Fairy Macabre, we don't have an answer. But we can play around Macabre, going slightly different. Okay, Chromox, you can resolve Chromox. We could counter Chromox, of course, but this will only buy us 1 turn. My opponent exiles Battlecry Goblin, and they try just to hit us with a fast Goblin Rebel Master. I think we need to counter it because our starting hand is not that fast. And this may indicate that my opponent have Fairy Macabre or something else, right? Because this is not that strong. We don't need to track this right now, right? Let's just pass the turn right now. Let's wait a little bit more, see if we need to be fast or not. My opponent plays a mountain. They have 3 mana available and nothing else. Great. So since my opponent have basic mountains, they can have something like Magus of the Moon or some Moon effect. So I'll take my basic islands. Let's guarantee that. Alright, we have Brainstorm and Force of Will. And do I even keep Brainstorm at this point? Force of Will at this point? I don't think we do. Let's be more proactive. Let's keep only Brainstorm and see if my opponent will hit us. No? Alright, no Fairy Macabre. So I will play Polluted Delta first. Let's fetch it for Undercity Silvers. Let's see if we see something useful on top of our library. A second Brainstorm. This is useful. So let's keep it. and then I'll cast Brainstorm. I will draw my Brainstorm, and then we dredge 5 and dredge 4. And we already have one dredger, so let's put the other dredgers on top. So our next Brainstorm will be really good next turn. My opponent plays a City of Traitors, and now things can be scary. Okay, Skirk Prospector. This card is secretly really good against us because my opponent can just sacrifice it to avoid us to have our bridges. So we will cast Brainstorm in our upkeep to put Bridge and Poxwalkers back before our next turn, this turn. We dredge, and we dredge 5. Okay, we found Hogak and 2 Narcos. We have only 1 bridge there. My opponent... Do I force my opponent to sacrifice this Prospector right now? I can save this bridge from the future to do something in the future. Yeah, I will not put bridge. We already have 1 and 2 creatures, so my opponent will probably be forced to sacrifice Prospector. So I'll put only Poxwalkers and Golgarglyph Troll back into my deck. Maybe my opponent will not see the line, I don't know, but I will do the best play even, and we'll have another bridge there, so yeah. Do I still have any lands here in my deck? Let's see this after resolve this Cabal Therapy. I sacrifice an Arcomoeba. Let's see if my opponent will see the line that they can sacrifice their own Prospector. No. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I will name Muxus here. Muxus, Goblin, Grandee. And they do have a Muxus. Alright. And I will... okay, I don't have the Dredge Return package, so I will just cast a big monster. I think I still have a land, right? So let's take our second basic island. And I think my opponent is just considering the game, yeah. GG's. We won. My opponent kept a fast hand, but with turn 1 Goblin Rebel Master, but this is usually not that good against us. His hand seems good, but it was probably a mulligan. Alright, this is our round number 4. We are against Chess Knight 50-30. I like to play chess at night. Alright. Good luck, have fun. You too. So this is a mulligan, unfortunately. My opponent also mulligans to 6. My opponent is going to 5, so maybe they are playing a combo deck of some kind. This has no Force of Will, but this hand is really good if my opponent don't find whatever they need on turn 1. I'm inclined to keep this. This is not that good, of course, but with both of the Legazes and 2 lands, one of them is our best land. I think this is a keep. And I'll put Narcomoeba or Poxwalkers. Probably Narcomoeba. And let's see if my opponent will keep 5. They kept 5 cards. They play Ancient Tomb and Green Monolith. Okay, where are my forces? And this is our turn. Okay, we found a Force of Will. Better lucky than good, right? So we'll pass the turn here. Only playing Polluted Delta. And now it's my opponent's turn. Let's wait a little bit more until we crack Odoli Gaze. We still don't know if my opponent is a mono artifact deck or if they... Okay, the One Ring is going to be forced. I hope my opponent don't have another force. Oh, they do have another force. Okay. Oh, they had double force. Alright. Let's immediately crack this Polluted Delta in this case. For an Underground Sea. I don't think my opponent will have Wasteland. And I'll play this Odoli Gaze right now. Okay, we found what we need. But my opponent will have a protection next turn. I'll just press F6 here. Is this a dual combo? Okay, my opponent found a second land. No blue mana, so I'm not sure. Okay, now they have blue mana. Oh, it's not over. What? Okay, it was a misclick. Okay, now we will dredge because we have Cephalic Elysium. And we don't have other dredgers there. Do I cast Otherworldly Gaze or just crack Cephalic Elysium and put our dredgers there immediately? This is not that easy. My opponent will draw 2 cards next turn. Maybe more than that if one of them is a combo piece. But this is not fast for them. They need some luck. I think I will just cast Otherworldly Gaze here because maybe I found an Narcomoeba. Let's see if this can find something for us. Okay, a Narcomoeba and a Careful Study for next turn. And another land, so this is actually really good. Let's keep Flooded Strand on top and Careful Study on top. Narcomoeba enters the battlefield. Yep. And I will sacrifice Narcomoeba to put Golgarglyph Troll into my graveyard. Now my opponent knows that the coast is clear for them. I can just press F6. Your path is open. Do your worst. They draw 1 card, 2 cards. They have 3 new cards in their hand and 5 mana to work with them. Use one of those cards a copy effect or another One Ring for mana. Another One Ring, of course. So they will have 1 turn with protection on extra turn. I'll have an Electro draw here. Careful Study is amazing. Let's cast it. one of those draws is a natural draw, and then I will dredge 6. So I can discard 2 dredgers. Can we win this turn? Can we? It would be amazing if we win this turn. It will not be easy, but our deck is prepared to do exactly that. Let's see. So we'll dredge 6, we dredge 5, we have dredge return, we have Satoru. Maybe this is a win, even against the One Ring. We'll discard Poxwalkers, Grave Troll, and Stinkwood Imp. Now we have 2 Nakomoibas. Yes, I would like to use Nakomoiba's ability. And then I cannot cast Cabal Therapy targeting my opponent, but I can cast Cabal Therapy targeting myself. And I have Poxwalkers back and 3 Bridges triggers. Poxwalkers enters the battlefield. I will name Thug. Still 18 cards in my deck. Do I already have Thassa's Oracle here? Yeah, but I need my last Dredge Return. So let's Dredge Return targeting Satoru. I will sacrifice Poxwalkers, and Nakomoiba. Many bridges triggering. And if you play Dredge in real life with paper, I mean, you need to be careful with your triggers because especially this build can have that many triggers in a single turn. So I will dredge 6. Okay, we found our last dredge return. So from here is a piece of cake. I will just cast Cabal Therapy, targeting me again, sacrificing 1 Poxwalkers. We probably will hit at least. Oh no, we already had our 3 Nakomoibas, so we have only 1 in our deck. Dredge 6. Okay, we found our Nakomoiba. Yes, I would like its ability. Dredge 4. Dredge 4 is enough. And I don't need to discard anything here. Let's just cast Dredge Return, reanimating Thassa's Oracle, and win the game with Devotion 4. Yeah. Oh, this is my first win with this deck against the One Ring trigger. So yeah, GG. My opponent is congratulating me here. This is not easy. Okay, so now on the draw, this is difficult after sideboarding. My opponent probably have Leyline of the Void, but it's always about that. My opponent have Leyline and Force of Will. Will they go really aggressively mulligan until they find some answer, or they will just keep a fast hand? We never know. So we'll probably take 2 Otherworldly Gazes at least, Hogak, 1 Poxwalkers, and 1 Satoru to include 5 answers. And I think I'll also take 1 basic island to include Ashen Rider. Yeah, I think this is wiser if my opponent have a lock piece that need to be exiled. On the draw, I think this is a good plan. Alright, so we have Force of Will for days, but we don't have our land. My opponent kept 7 cards. This can be really good after we use our forces. On the draw, with my opponent keeping 7 cards, I will keep this. Okay, no Leyline for my opponent, so they probably have a really good hand. And we need a land. But on the draw is already pretty hard to win against this deck. Maybe they do have forces, for example. Okay, Voltaic Key. They will... Okay, Mox Opal. They untap Green Monolith. They have 3 cards in their hand. Paradoxical Outcome. Let's force that. My opponent has 2 cards in their hand. No Force of Will. Alright. We dodged the first bullet. But no lands for us. Let's just pass the turn. As soon as we find a land, this hand would be amazing. Until there, we still have a Force of Will. Okay, my opponent will untap Green Monolith and try Displacer Kitten. I cannot allow that. Unfortunately, I need to exile Thassa's Oracle. Okay, 2 bullets. Another Manifold Key. And now what? Land? No land yet. Maybe we draw our 3rd Force of Will. Okay, both forces were really important, but now we need a land. Okay, my opponent will try again. Now they have another Kitten. Okay, this time I have nothing. Kitty, 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 kitty. Alright, my opponent untaps Green Monolith and passes. Land? No land. Come on, deck. Come on, deck. And I cannot complain because I even took 1 island from the deck when sideboarding, so I cannot complain. My opponent only attacks me, so no combo for them yet. And we have an Nakomoiba and pass a turn. My opponent plays City of Traitors, no combo yet. So far, so good. We are alive. This is turn 5. Land? No land. We will discard the Golgar Grave Troll. But I'm not sure if I will just dredge there, because my opponent can easily combo from here. I think I will just have a natural draw. Yeah, this is a land. Perfect. So now I crack Misty for an Underground Sea, and I'll cast Careful Study. We will dredge 6. My opponent pressed F6 here, so dredge 6 again. Now we have 1 Narco, Cabal Therapy, Poxwalkers can come back, and no bridges yet. I have 2 Black Dredgers. I will discard Regent Poxwalkers, And since my opponent didn't play anything, what they can have in their hand? Do they have Leyline? Or Force of Will? or both. I will say that my opponent have Leyline of the Void or Force of Will. Those are my two best guesses here. I will name Leyline because my opponent already have access to black mana. So I will name Leyline of the Void. But maybe Force of Will is the right thing to name here. Okay, Phyrexian Metamorph and Lotus Petal. Okay, so they already have things to combo, but decided to wait a little bit more because they need to have one big artifact as a payoff. We already have Ashen Rider, so we only need a single Dredge return to exile this kitty. Dredge 5. Okay, Cabal Therapy. My opponent will not block, right? So let's attack first. And my opponent considering blocking here? No? Alright. So we deal 5 damage. And after combat, we will cast this Otherworldly Gaze. Let's see if we can hit something else. Dredge return. Perfect. And even a Force of Will to have a natural draw next turn. So I will put Dredge return into my graveyard. I don't think I want Underground Sea, but maybe, you never know. Let's keep this on top and Force of Will on top. And now I'll cast Cabal Therapy targeting my opponent, sacrificing Poxwalkers. A 3-Jewel trigger, and I'll have one extra zombie. And I will name Phyrexian Metamorph, of course. Phyrexian Metamorph, yeah. And now I will cast Dredge Return to put Ashen Rider, sacrificing. I could try to combo with Satoru, but I exiled Thassa's Oracle at the beginning of the game, right? So I'll just exile PD. So no combo for you next turn. And I have a Force of Will on top. And now this is their turn. Okay, they play Lotus Petal. And another Lotus Petal. And untaps a Green Monolith. Do they have something? Right, let's press F6. I have nothing. Oh, Paradoxical Outcome. Okay, my opponent can replay almost everything here. This was a really good top of the deck. But I cannot complain. I kept a card with no starting hand with no lands and double force. Okay, my opponent found a Jewel. Maybe they have the win. Okay, now my opponent will play a lot of cards. Let's just wait a little bit to see if we can still win or not. Oh, my opponent had Leyline of the Void. Okay, is this enough? They need to win this turn, or at least play the One Ring. Okay, Lodestone Golem is a good blocker, but I still have the win. They need something else. Lotus Petal. Alright, they will have 2 blockers. Oh no, of course they will copy my Ashen Rider. Alright. This is nice. Now, do I want my Force of Will that's on top? I'm not sure anymore, because my opponent can deal 10 damage. Alright, let's see. This is interesting. Do I want that Force of Will? I'm not sure. My opponent have 3 cards in their hand. If I attack with my Poxwalkers, my opponent will block with Ashen Rider. I will have a zombie trigger, but this is not good enough. This is really hard. My opponent told me on the chat that they messed up with untapping and untapped a Jewel. So maybe they have something else in their hand. So I think I'll just keep my Force of Will on top. Let's draw it. I cannot even attack here. I will just pass a turn. Yeah, Ashen Rider was good, but after my opponent's turn wasn't a good idea. So let's see if my opponent can do something. Okay, they play Lotus Petal. Okay, they just say that Lodestone Golem cannot be blocked. They will deal me 10 damage. I go to 1. So let's just attack. Okay, they will untap Ashen Rider and untap Lodestone Golem. Yeah, I don't have ways to win here. Let's concede. Yeah, whoa, this game was tough. And now I know for sure that my opponent have Leyline of the Void. So I'm not sure if I will change anything here. Maybe Ashen Rider is not that good now. Of course, Ashen Rider can get rid of something, but since I have Satoru as a strong reanimating target that will not do anything for my opponent, on the play maybe Satoru is just better and I must keep it. I kind of want Grief on the play because I can just take my opponent's best card. But it's hard about what to change here. If I want to include Grief, I probably take 1 Thug and maybe 1 Breach, and I go with only 2 Breaches. This seems too little, but I don't need Breach to actually win the game. I can win only with Poxwalkers and Narcomoebas. This seems scary, but I kind of want Grief here. I'm not sure if I want to take Breach. Let's take Breach. So if I lose this game is probably because I'm being too defensive. But this is one of our scariest matchups because a blue deck with Force of Will and Leyline of the Void and a fast combo is probably one of our worst matchups. And now we are on the play, and we cannot keep this. Mulligan? Oh, whoa. We cannot keep this either. My opponent kept 7. Come on, deck. No lands. No lands. 3 hands in a row. Let's mulligan again. Alright, we will keep this. This is not good, but it is what it is. We'll put Thassa's Oracle. Let's put Dredge Return, Thassa's Oracle, and turn Dismissal. Yeah, my opponent don't have Leyline. And I will just play Undercity Sewers, sadly. Do I keep Force of Will? My opponent kept 7 cards already. I don't think I will keep Force of Will. Let's put this into my graveyard. We need an enabler. And my opponent probably have Force of Will. Urza Saga. Urza Saga is good for my opponent. Manifold Key. That's it. Alright. Let's find an enabler. Careful Study is an enabler. We cast it. My opponent have Force. Alright. So let's find another enabler next turn. Let's see if my opponent have Ancient Tomb or City of Traders. City of Traders, alright. And Trinisphere. Alright. So let's draw 2 lands and a Careful Study in a row. Not of them. Reach from below. My opponent taps Urza Saga. So no constructs. My opponent have something better than a construct to cast. Bloodstone Golem. They will put us outside the game really fast here. Alright. And yeah, we will not win this game, unfortunately, with Trinisphere and a Golem attacking us. Yeah. One last game, if we didn't had Thassa's Oracle in our starting hand, if that was another blue card, we had a chance to win the game on that exact turn. But unfortunately, this is a GG. So let's concede. And I have to work now. I cannot stay for our final round. But after my class, I have a class soon. And after that, I will come back to play my last round. We are 2-2. Alright, this is our last round. And we are on the draw. Okay, this hand is debatable. I think this hand is a keep on the draw, because it will be so good against tempo and control decks. But of course, if my opponent plays a combo deck, this hand can be really bad. Scouting Tarn is good. It's a good start. I like to have 3 Cephalic Coliseums and 1 flashback spell like Otherworldly Gaze. So maybe, oh, Careful Study is a great draw. So maybe we can just go off on turn 2 with this hand. We just need to find the dredgers. If we don't find a dredger, we will find something with or 2 blue enablers. Or 3 if you consider our Careful Study or Gaze with flashback. Okay, my opponent did nothing. We only passed the turn. And well, oh, my opponent plays Island. Is this a control matchup? Let's see. Okay, let's see who will blink first. Okay, I will cast the Otherworldly Gaze on their end step. Oh, let's see who will blink first. My opponent will crack their Scouting Tarn and fetches a Volcanic Island. 2 blue mana. Oh, this is the not fairies, but the wizard deck, I guess. Is that correct? It could be fairies, but with red mana, I think this is the wizard deck. This deck is sweet. This will be a sweet round. So my Otherworldly Gaze got countered, but I will play... I think my opponent play with Wasteland, I'm not sure. Maybe they don't. I don't remember exactly if they play Wastelands or not. Let's fetch a basic island, just to be sure. And I will cast this Otherworldly Gaze immediately in case my opponent have other fairies. Okay, no dredgers yet, but all of them are good cards to be milled. Let's put every one of them into our graveyard and pass the turn. I'm excited to play against this deck. I think I played against Wizards only once, and with other builds, not with this new Blue Dredge deck. So it will be interesting. They have that card, Patron Wizard. I'm not sure if you already know this card. Patron Wizard is a really old card from the... Oh yeah, this is the card. Patron Wizard. This card is not legendary, which is interesting. They can have more than one. And now my opponent can tap any wizard to have daisies. You can see here. My opponent can counter target spell unless its controller pays 1. So they already have 2 wizards. Luckily we have many lands, so paying for our spells will not be that hard. Now, because of that, unless my opponent have a Force of Will or Force of Negation or something like that, but I can cast Cabal Therapy or Careful Study. I cannot cast Cabal Therapy, of course. I don't have black mana, so I'm going with Careful Study. But I could even wait one more turn here just to play Undercity Sewers. We had no luck here, but I think I will just crack a Cephalic Coliseum now. Because I will have, yeah, I have Threshold, and we have 4 Cephalic Coliseums at this point. So they are expendable. Let's crack one of them. Alright, we found our Dredger. And we played around double days. We can discard these Undercity Sewers. It will not be useful this game. We already saw 9 lands and 19 cards. This is wild. Alright, my opponent plays a 4th land, Scouting Tarn, and passes the turn. They have 4 cards in their hand, so this probably means that they have many counterspells. Luckily, we will not need to cast many spells this game. Now we dredge 5 and have Narcomoeba. We already have 2 Poxwalkers, only 1 Bridge, and Hogak, but we have Satoru in Dredge return, so this probably is a winning game turn. Let's see if my opponent has something else. I don't even need to resolve this Cabal Therapy, I just want to see my opponent's hand, because if they don't have any other counterspell, only 2 wizards in game, in play, then I can crack Cephalic Coliseum and probably win the game, because I already have other 2 Cabal Therapies. If this resolves, I'm not sure what I will name. I actually don't know that wizard deck too well, and maybe there are some variants. Okay, my opponent will fire something here. 3 mana. Oh, this is probably Flame of Anor. So my opponent chooses, draws 2 cards and deals 5 damage to my Poxwalkers. That's not the best thing, probably. So I will just crack Cephalic Coliseum in response. And let's try to find at least 1 more Bridge from below to have a good effect after my Poxwalkers dies. So yeah, Dredge 5, Dredge 6 again. And now I will discard 3 Dredgers, 2 Grave Throw, and 1 Stinkwind Imp. We have 1 extra Narcomoeba, and we found our second Bridge. So now I will have 2 zombies, and I can just cast Hogak after this spell being resolved. So more zombies for me. What I would name, let me see. Another Flame of Anor. I think this is wise. Yeah, and they have a second one. And they have no other counter spells in their hand, only control elements like Magus of the Moon. So yeah, this game is ours. Let's just not fizzle, right? Let's cast Hogak. We have 2 Poxwalkers coming back right now. This Hogak will enter the battlefield. Maybe this will force my opponent to tap 1 wizard, alright? And as soon as they tap their second one, I can combo with Satoru. Yeah, they tap their second wizard, so this Hogak will not enter the battlefield, but now I can just cast my first Dredge return, targeting Satoru. We already have our second Dredge return, so let's sacrifice Poxwalkers, and Poxwalkers. So we have 3 Poxwalkers now. We will have 6 triggers from Bridge from below. Yeah, and Satoru will trigger itself because it is reanimated. I will dredge 6. Now I have 1 Narco. Narco will trigger Satoru. We already have Thassa's Oracle in our graveyard. This is amazing. Let's just win the game. We don't need any extra turns here. Narcomoeba will trigger Satoru. And now we will just dredge 5 because we don't need to dredge anymore. Let's cast Dredge Return targeting Thassa's Oracle. We will have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We will have Devotion to Blue 6. And this is enough to win the game. We could even draw an extra card if we want to, but we don't need to. Yeah, we won the game. That's great. And I really enjoy new strategies like this wizard deck. And you see they have a Step Through, Tishana's Tidebinder, so really great cards to control the matchup. Now what? Now what we will sideboard against this deck? My opponent probably will have Leyline of the Void, or other ways to deal with my graveyard strategy. I'm not sure if my opponent will have Leyline of the Void. I think 2 copies of Grief are better than include too many answers to Leyline. I'll probably include Chain of Vapor because they are useful to bounce a creature like Magus of the Moon if we need to, even if my opponent don't play Leyline. We can take 1 Satoru. Do I take my 3rd Bridge? Hogak maybe? Yeah, let's take 1 Bridge. Maybe not. We need to take 1. Oh, of course, I think Poxwalkers, right? Poxwalkers should be our last card because we already included 1 Ichorid. Ichorid is really good against Surgical Extraction because my opponent can Surgical or Poxwalkers, and we have an Ichorid. Grief is good against counterspells and to take my opponent's first Wizard Mage. Alright, we have Chain of Vapor, but this is not keepable. No lands again. That's mulligan. Okay, this is our best hand so far. It's far from good, but on 5, this is what we have. I will keep Golgari Thug and put Ichorid and Ashen Rider on the bottom. Oh, my opponent have Leyline of the Void. Alright. So we have only 2 answers to Leyline. My opponent kept 7 cards. They started the game with either Vial, and we draw a land. So let's Surveil. Careful Study, unfortunately, will be put into our graveyard. We really need 1 of our 2 bounce spells. Luckily, our opponent will have a slow start with only lands and this either Vial and nothing else. But they kept 7 cards, right? Some opponents will keep 7 cards even without having a good sequence of cards because of Leyline of the Void. My opponent plays Island and Pass, so I'm fearing some parry here. Let's see here, yeah. I was just checking, yeah. I included only 2 answers to Leyline, yeah. So we draw a land. Let's play Flooded Strand and pass the turn. Ooh, this is not going to be easy. My opponent did nothing. So let's cast this Otherworldly Gaze in their upkeep. Alright, 3 cards into our graveyard. We really need our Chain of Vapor. Maybe you can just top deck Chain of Vapor next turn. If we do, we can even win the game because we have lands, we have Cephalic Elysiums. My opponent will do a move here. Alright, Patron Wizard. Alright, now it will be harder to win this game. My opponent, either Vial, is already with 2 counters. Maybe they have another Wizard. Let's crack this? I don't think so, because we can draw Brainstorm. So yeah, let's just draw here. Oh, Brainstorm, alright. So, we can know the devil. Let's cast this Brainstorm. Come on, Chain of Vapor. Not such luck. Let's put Hogak and Grave Troll. We can put Golgari Thug back, but I think I would just cast Golgari Thug at this point. Or, no, you don't. You know what? Casting Golgari Thug will not be useful. Let's just draw 2 cards and discard 2 cards again. Another Grave Troll. Yeah. I think this game is probably over now. My opponents still have 3 cards. Unless those 3 cards are blanks, like lands, mounting, okay. This Patron Wizard will dominate the game. They will not even attack. This is just here to counter my spells. Alright, we can cast this Liquid Imp. Why not? Oh, you know what? I will just cast Golgari Thug to test my opponent's hand here. I don't think we will have a chance to win this game. And if I cast this Liquid Imp, my opponent can probably put a second Wizard and counter it with their either Vial. Yeah? If I just try to cast Liquid Imp with 2 Wizards. Oh, another Patron Wizard, alright. This Liquid Imp will be only exiled with Leyline of the Void. So we pass the turn. My opponent's turn starts with either Vial staying on with 3 counters. My opponent plays another land. We still have a chance, you know? My opponent have only 2 cards in their hand. Maybe both are blanks. And we have lands to pay for Wizard's taxes. Now I will try to cast this Liquid Imp. This will be countered if my opponent have another Wizard that costs 3 mana. Yeah, they do have. Alright. And we have this Narcomoeba. Oh, Telecaster. My opponent can just counter my Liquid Imp and then kill my Golgari Thug. I will not pay, of course. Let's consider that. At this point, I think this is hopeless, guys. Let's go to our third game and include more answers to Leyline. I think this is better. Let's save us some time. Yeah. So now I include my other answers to Leyline, of course. Hero's Dismissal is the best, and choose turn dismissals. And I will probably take Ashen Rider. I don't think Ashen Rider is good. Grief can also be sided out because I need more answers on the first turn against Leyline. Maybe I include Satoru or Poxwalker's back. No. Yeah, I think this is good. Just the 2 Grief and 1 Ashen Rider out, and 3 more answers to Leyline in. Do I change something else? No, I think this is good. Alright, we are on the play now. This hand could be good, but we don't have a Dredger and no answer to Leyline, so let's mulligan. Oh, come on, Jack. This hand could be really good, but I will not mulligan this. At least we have 2 Brainstorm to find an answer to Leyline if my opponent found a Leyline. We have 2 fetch lands. I will put one of them on the bottom. Let's see if my opponent will find the Leyline. My opponent kept 7 cards with a Leyline of the Void. Alright. We need to find our answer. But now we have 5 answers to Leyline. Let's see if we can find one of them. I cracked my land here, and I think I will fire this Brainstorm immediately. Yeah, I think it's better. No answers, but another Brainstorm. Alright. So let's put 2 of our Dredgers. We need only 1. Let's put both on top of our deck. And I think I want my 3 lands here. Next turn I can cast 2 Brainstorms. So my opponent did nothing. They kept a hand with no lands. Guys, this is usually not a good thing to do, right? Because now I will cast my spells and maybe I find my answer to Leyline. So I will not cast a Brainstorm right now. Let's pass a turn first. I don't know for sure if my opponent don't have a Force of Negation, so let's play around it. Alright, we found our Chain of Vapor. And we have Cabal Therapy and Brainstorm for next turn. So again, let's put 2 Dredgers back, and I will immediately cast this Chain of Vapor. Resolves? Resolves. And my opponent have no lands. Let's see if they... Okay, they draw a land. But now we have 2 lands. It's like being on the play twice, right? Because now we have 2 lands. My opponent have only 1. We will have our 3rd land. So... And only the Vial for my opponent. So if my opponent don't have a Force of Will, Force of Negation, we will just dominate this game. Okay, I'll play my Cephalic Elysium, I think, yeah. And then we will cast Cabal Therapy targeting ourselves. Naming, of course, Liquid Imp. Yeah, and we have 1. Now let's see if this Brainstorm resolves. Yeah, it resolves. My opponent don't have anything else. So Dredge 5, and Dredge 5 again. We couldn't find our last treasure, so next turn I would just cast Otherworldly Gaze. Hopefully it will resolve. If it didn't resolve, we can only cast Stinkwood Imp and cast Cabal Therapy targeting my opponent. We already found Hogak and one bridge. My opponent will tap either Vial immediately on their upkeep. So this, okay, Fairy Seer. This fairy is not the strongest one, right? This is a common fairy that only scries 2, but this is a wizard. So when you have the other cards, this deck can be really synergistic. And my opponent don't find their second land, I guess. Okay, they have Lorien Revealed, so this will be their second island. The basic island. This deck, this wizard deck, is really cheap. It's a budget deck. So if you guys are interested about it, you can probably check this later. So Otherworldly Gaze, luckily this resolves, yeah. We even found another bounce spell, but at this point I don't think we want that. Yeah, let's just do our thing. This is turn 4. After a Leyline of the Void, when we had no answers to Leyline in our starting hand. So we found our Narcomoeba. We don't have any Poxwalkers yet. I think I will cast this Cabal Therapy because it represents 2 discard spells right now. I will have a zombie. Let's see if we need to worry about something or not. I don't need to target myself immediately. I'll name... yeah, let's name the Papa Wizard. Patron Wizard. Alright, no Patron Wizards, but 2 step through, and this card is really scary. I'm not sure what other wizards my opponent can have, but I think it's wise. Next turn my opponent will have either Vial going to 2. So step through is probably scary enough to fire this Cabal Therapy immediately. So let's name step through. Oh, my opponent will cycle in response. Okay, they really need their third land. And we name step through. Yeah, and now my opponent has this Deputy of Detention. It can exile our zombies, but my opponent needs Tundra. And this either Vial will not go to 2 counters yet. Only 2 of them. So unless my opponent draws something, they will not have any good play on this turn. My opponent plays Tundra, as expected. Will not attack. Vial goes to 2, and now, yeah, nothing. So it's our turn. Let's hope for no wizard with 2 mana cost. So Narcomoeba will enter the battlefield, and now I'll probably crack Cephalic Coliseum immediately. We don't need to cast anything else right now. I fear only the Shanna's Tidebinder, but I don't think we actually have a choice if my opponent have a Stifle effect that they have. Alright, no Stifles effect. So Golgari Grief Troll will Dredge 6 and Dredge 6 again. And now we only have 10 cards in our graveyard, so let's Dredge 4. And I'll put Satoru, Stinkwood Imp, and Golgari Grief Troll. So we have many dredges. We have only 6 cards in our deck, and we have 3 Narcomoebas. So unless my opponent can interact with us, oh, they can. This victory would be ours. Oh, they draw another step through. So this is going to be another wizard, and my opponent will have 2 wizards. Meddling Mage, alright. Oh, but this is not anything that will stop us from winning, right? If my opponent named Dread Return, we cannot win right now. But if my opponent named Cabal Therapy, we can win right now. But even if my opponent named Dread Return, I can just make many zombies here and win next turn. Yeah, my opponent chose the best card. But we have many Cabal Therapies, and we have Hogak. So yeah, we cannot win this turn because my opponent found exactly their 3rd step through. But now, yeah, let's just sacrifice some zombies. I will take this Deputy of Detention, of course, because it is scary. Deputy. Yeah. And we don't care about the Line of the Void. My opponent cannot cast it. So let's take this Venser now. We can even cast Hogak first, because we don't have Poxwalkers. I'm not sure where are our Poxwalkers in the last 6 cards of our deck. Alright. So let's cast Hogak and sacrifice it. You see, Hogak works as another copy of Poxwalkers. Poxwalkers works as extra copies of Narcomoeba. This is the synergy of our deck. They are all great cards in different situations, and they complement each other. Really nice. Now we can cast Hogak again. I cannot cast Red Return, but next turn I can just bring back Eco Raid for a lethal attack unless my opponent draw something really good. They need something really good here, because let me calculate here. Hogak. Yeah, they need to bounce Hogak, or maybe draw another Deputy of Detention to have a chance. Either Vial goes to 3 counters. My opponent has Leyline and an unknown card. Come on, come on, come on. My opponent will not attack? No. They passes their turn. Icorid comes back. Exciting Golgari Thug, yeah. I'm not sure if I will dredge here. I think we don't need to dredge. I can just cast Otherworldly Gaze if I want to see my the top of my library. Let's just attack. We have lethal. Let's see if my opponent can interact with 2 creatures here. or with Hogak. Oh, my opponent have another thing. Okay, it's the Papa Wizard. But I think this is enough to win the game, right? Hogak has Trample, so my opponent can block Ichorid and 2 zombies. 8 plus 6, 14, 15, 16. Yeah, plus Ichorid. Yeah, this is lethal. This is lethal. Yeah, we won the game and the match. So, Wizard, huh? With Leyline. And this is a good, let's see here our result. We got a 3-2 result with this deck. Let's analyze the deck for a moment. I think, yeah, let's see our deck again. All right, after this league, how do we feel about the deck? Honestly, I feel great about the deck, at least playing this league. We had a 3-2 result, which is good but unexciting. But both of our losses were really close. We almost got 2 wins against 2 really hard matchups. Mono Black Scam is really hard, one of the hardest matchups for any Dredge deck, and we almost got the win on our second game. And also against the Duo combo, we got the win if we still had Thassa's Oracle, but I needed to exile Thassa's Oracle on my first couple of turns because my opponent had a combo and I needed to use this as a pitch to force a foil. Maybe we need to include a second Thassa's Oracle, who knows. But both rounds were lost due to variance, and they could just be wins. So the deck performed really well. Let's think about our first question at the beginning at the intro of this league. Do we still need Bridge from Below? I think bridges are great, of course, but if we really have this plan A of winning with Satoru and Thassa's Oracle, maybe we don't need 4 bridges. I never felt the absence of the 4th bridge in this league, and many times during the matchups sideboarding, I thought for a moment about taking 1 bridge from the main deck and including other answers to fight my opponent's decks. Maybe if we go really deep into this combo, we can even take another bridge, or maybe all of bridges from the deck, who knows? Maybe we can include more threats, maybe we can include a 3rd Satoru, a 2nd Thassa's Oracle, another Dredge Return, a 4th Pox Walkers. I'm inclined to test this idea, but bridges are really good against many other decks. Sometimes you will find just a really expected deck like a Delver, for example. And bridges are really good against Delver. Bridges are great against any tempo deck. Bridges right now are not that good against control because my opponent can have a Solitude, for example, to exile my bridges at instant speed. I'm used to play around those effects just to save my bridges from exiling, but maybe it is time to try building Legacy without Bridge from Below. There were some builds in the past that tried to do that, but all of those builds were not that successful, because only having aggro plan will fold to lifelink, will fold to effects like something like even Wrath effects, right? Not only Terminus, but other effects will just win the game. Control matchups will be harder to fight if we don't have repeatable triggers like bridges and Ichorid. So I'm not sure if we will have success without bridge, but I really want to try to go really deep into this combo because this combo is really fun. And maybe if modern players don't have Bridge from Below for years now, maybe you can try to win without bridges, having a strong other plan. Maybe bridges can go to the sideboard, who knows? And besides this bridge question, I think the deck is still fun. I had lots of fun playing this league. I hope you enjoyed this league with me, and see you soon in another exciting Dredge video. See you. Bye.